Hello, my friends. I am back. I know it's been a few weeks since I posted a process video. That is because I have been teaching an online course throughout the month of February for Simple Stories Online. We've been having so much fun over there. However, it does limit my time for personal projects. I have been creating behind the scenes, but I just haven't had a chance to edit these videos. So as I get a chance to voice over and edit them, I will definitely be popping them up onto my YouTube channel. So thanks so much for joining me today. Now for today's project, I am pulling out a lot of stuff from my stash. This is an older Studio Calico Kit from around 2012. I actually purchased this off of a classified site from someone locally to me, and when they originally purchased these Studio Calico kits, they bought 2 of the papers. So I feel really lucky to have a lot of this. And I love these kits. I love to go to them when I have pages about my husband and my son because they have more of a masculine feel to them. And so today I'm scrapbooking some photos of my husband at work. He's the chief meteorologist at our local TV station. And so this kit especially lends itself well to these photos because of the cloud paper, of course, right? Weatherman. And then all of the tones of gray and blue. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. Now, these photos that I took of him, we were actually on our way out of town for a trip. However, he had to finish up his work schedule for that day, his 10 o'clock news show. So I was just hanging out with him at the news station, and I happened to snap these photos of him while he was working. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to scrapbook his workplace. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I started with a piece of gray cardstock, and I'm going to keep the tones of this layout very muted and very monochromatic. Mostly, you know, the stormy sky kind of feel with that gray cardstock and then the blues and aquas, which are also colors of the sky. I pulled out papers from the kit that I thought would work well. And the one I'm going to start with is that circle vellum paper, which kind of reminds me of, I don't know, some kind of, you know, solar map or diagram, weather map. I don't know, some kind of global earth map. You know, I'm not into weather, but it just reminded me of, you know, some kind of pattern that you would see in a science book. And so I cut that circle out and I'm going to use that as a base layer for these photos. I've also matted my photos onto some Studio Calico paper that has like a circular black and white pattern to it. And I've arranged them in a row across my page from largest photo to smallest photo. So they're going to be stepping down. I'm also bringing in some more of the patterns from the kit in these muted tones, just to add as an anchoring line for those 3 photos to rest on. So I've gone ahead and cut out a little strip of some, I think it's basic gray paper that they did exclusively for this Studio Calico kit. That gray newsprint paper is from Studio Calico. And then I have this aqua dot paper that has a navy dot on it by Authentique. Now, I don't know if that Authentique paper came in the kit. Actually, when I purchased these kits, even though they had a lot of paper in them already, I always like to go to my stash and add in more papers from my stash just to kind of beef it up and give myself some more choices. So I may have pulled that paper in from my stash. I don't know for sure. But I like to do that because it gives me more choices, and also it allows me to use up some older papers that I have lying around, right? So I'm going to get these layers down, and I'm going to go ahead and get my photos placed as well. The next thing I'm going to do is just familiarize myself with the other items in the kit. Often these Studio Calico kits came with exclusive stamps. And so I had this little stamp here with some borders on it that has an arrow border and then this number line, which felt very scientific to me. And so I rarely stamp on my projects. And so I thought this would be a fun opportunity to kind of experiment with that and bring those stamps in as well. It's always a little scary for me, but I think it's good to pull out items that we don't often gravitate to because it shakes up our skills. It gives us practice, and it also, gets us out of our creative rut, or I don't know, just gets our mind flexing in different ways. So I'm going to sprinkle in this arrow stamp as well as this number line stamp. And I'm just having fun with this. Now with that arrow stamp, I decided to have it point towards the right because the movement of the page is kind of starting from left to right with the larger photo graduating down to the smaller photo. I will also do some of the stamping in the upper left corner as well as the bottom right corner. And when I get to the bottom right corner, I do flip that arrow stamp around so that the arrows are pointing the other way. That way the movement is, those arrows are keeping your eye from falling off the page, if that makes sense. The arrows pointing to the right are drawing your eye through the page, but then when you get over to the right side, I want it to point back in and keep your eye inside the page. Now, also in this kit were these vellum washi tape strips by Basic Gray, and I chose to go with this one that's gray and yellow because it picked up on the yellow tones inside of my photos from the studio lights. Now, I don't stick with this. I actually end up not liking this in the end. I'll keep it on the page all the way through the design process, but at the very end, I was looking at my completed page and I was like, oh, I just don't like how that's pulling away from the photos. I know it matches the photos, but it's kind of diverting your eye from the photos. So I will switch that out to something more monochromatic. And I believe I end up using like a navy blue and light blue diagonal stripe that blends in with that gray cardstock background a bit more. So just be sure to note that in the closing shots. There were also often in these kits little sprinklings of things like die cuts and brads, and also I had these set of chipboard stickers from Studio Calico that had these arrows and geotags, which I think work great with a weather layout. So I'm just familiarizing myself with the little pieces from this kit and just, kind of auditioning them around the page to see if I want to add them. I do add some of those arrow stickers, and I'm just looking at the die cuts here. Now, some of them have that bright red on them, and I'm not going to bring those in. It's too jarring to the eye, but I will bring a few of these green pieces in from the brads. You'll see that eventually. So I'm just kind of looking through things and deciding what looks that goes with the mood and feel of this layout. Next, I'm going to turn my attention over to this cloud paper. This is a paper by American Crafts, I believe. I'm going to fussy cut several of these clouds. You got to put clouds on a weather layout, right? So I've just cut out a strip and then I've cut them apart, and I'm just fussy cutting each one of these and popping them into place. I'm just going to surround my photos with them, tucking them in under the edges, and follow that movement of the line from the larger photo down to the smaller photo. And you can see how I've done that here. So I'll just tuck in this last little cloud, and then I'm going to work on my title. Now in this kit, it came with a set of bare chipboard thickers from American Crafts, which work great with this gray background. I actually really love bare chipboard, and we don't see a lot of that anymore these days, but this worked so well for this layout. Now I wanted to set my title here across the top of the photos and across the top of the pattern paper. So the two words kind of jig-jog down. And so I wanted to fill in that little space in between those two words. So this is when I'm going to bring in one of those Echo Park brads that were in the kit. There was this little cardstock backer piece, and then there was that I'm going to place in between the two words. And I think that makes it easier to read. So I really like that. And then I'm going to add in this green, it's almost like a compass type stamp or an arrow like spinner, not stamp, spinner brad. And so I'm having that point to one of the words on that chipboard backer. I inked up those bare chipboard letters with some gray ink just to give them a more distressed feel, and then that will complete that. Now there is a little bit of a space below the word weather and on that newsprint paper that's kind of bothering me, and I will try to fill that in with some chipboard pieces later. However, I do come back with another set of bare chipboard letters from my stash, actually from October afternoon, to add a third word to my title, and you'll see that in the closing shots. Here's where I'm trying to add in that chipboard word to fill in that space, but I do move that to the top left corner of the page, and then I'll add another chipboard arrow, or what are those flags, arrows? I don't know. To this one that says today, down by that green brad that I placed below the second photo. Now you'll also notice that I added in that little asterisk die cut there from the kit. And I felt like that worked well. Even though it has a spot of yellow to it, that asterisk reminded me of a snowflake, and so I thought it worked well. Now, my favorite thing that was in this kit were these teeny tiny little star gems. They are so cute, and I wish I had 1,000 of them. They're so fun. So I decided to sprinkle those throughout. I just created a little trio around the title to call attention to the title, and then I'll sprinkle some on the clouds throughout the rest of the page. I really like the silver tone that brought in, and I'll eventually add in some stapling off camera to repeat that silver tone by stapling on the chipboard flags and the chipboard stickers. I also add, or arrows, I also add one of those geotags to the last photo there, and I'll use the staple on that as well. So again, a little reminder that I do switch out that washi tape, so to the navy blue diagonal stripe one, and you'll see that in the closing shots. And it was so much fun to dig into my stash. I hope you've enjoyed watching this page come together today. I actually have another layout with this kit that I'll share with you again soon. But I hope you're having a great month, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.